everyone, and welcome back. And today I have a very special television show review that I've been wanting to talk about. And it's going to be first of a few big shows that I have a lot that I want to talk about. It's been something that I've been dying to do for my goodness, for quite a few months, but I finally want to get around to it. But today's one is a special one. Today, if you haven't guessed by the title card, I want to talk about the Alex Ryder series over on IMDBTv. So yeah, I heard about this through my Spyscape podcast. And of course, a bit of a shout out to the True Spies podcast, or the Spyscape Network, and better yet, the Spyscape Museum. Go check them out, folks. They are really, really good. It's an actual museum in Midtown Manhattan. I've been there for my bachelor party. It's really cool. But anyway, back to the review is one of the weeks of the podcast that they were saying this week's is sponsored by this show. And I was like, oh wait a minute, and Alex Ryder? I was like, as in based on the book series by Anthony Horowitz? And yes, okay, yeah. If anybody doesn't remember that, and of course I was like, okay, this is pretty neat. So I want to give it a watch. And literally after several minutes of the first episode, I was hooked, because I was never big on the Anthony Horowitz series when I was younger, but my brother was, so I was able to go back to my parents' house and actually find his Alex Ryder books. So now I got some glimpse of the whole series. So yeah, I'm going to read that and also watch this, because I feel like there's definitely some overlap of what the first season is done, maybe the first or two books of the series, if anybody has ever read them. And I feel like this show does a very good, legitimate job of bringing this character to modern age. Of course, it's essentially a Bond goes millennial kind of thing in a vein of like, the Kingsman. But of course, here's the thing: the Kingsman was batshit crazy and over the top and cartoonish. Here, I feel like is more like gritty and down to earth, and more something more hits more home in certain situations, especially when it comes to the overarching plot of the first season, which essentially follows the plot of, I think, the first book, a little bit of the second one, but season 2 is a completely different ballgame. And of course, as soon as I get into season two, or maybe I'll do it, maybe come back to this, but overall, my first impressions was, I thought they were gonna butcher this like every other book series that any studios ever picked up. To my shock, I think this is a very good adaptation of Anthony Horowitz. Not to mention, Anthony Horowitz is the executive producer and one of the writers on the show. So at least they finally were able to work with the original guy's original vision, because this is something that even me, as an aspiring writer, wants. Okay, I want to make sure that even if Night Agent does get picked up eventually in some form or the other in the next, 10 years, I would love to be on board. That way, everything that from my vision goes according to plan, and make sure it comes to life on the screen for every one of you. And I really think they did a good job with that. A great casting, okay? This young guy, Otto Farrant, I think, or Parent, yeah, great. I really enjoyed. He totally fits this role perfectly. I really liked that. And of course, Stephen Delane as Alan Blunt, that was a joy to watch, because I felt like this was perfect for a guy like Stephen Delane. And of course, to me, those are the two big names that stick out to me. I feel like everyone else really does a good job, no matter how minor or major their characters are. And of course, I don't want to go further into each episode, because I feel like I'm just diminishing it and spoiling stuff for you, and I don't want to do that. So if any Alex Ryder fans out there, if you ever read them and want to see a good adaptation, because I understand there was a not so good adaptation back in 2005 of a live action movie, and people looked at it and was like, oh shit, it's a Cody Banks knockoff. And yeah, I eventually I will get to that. Okay, so but that's still in the cards for Action Sunday. But overall, from what I gather, I feel like this does do justice to the original source material. The character building is perfect. The casting is perfect. I really enjoyed it. Some of these themes are good, and stuff from the book really bleeds itself into the story. And of course, I'm just waiting for the overall. I'm just waiting on bated breath to see what's going to happen next in every episode, where it's like there's like a very big drawn out suspense. And I really like it. I don't think they've built it too much, but I feel like they've done a perfect amount of I would say good nods to the series and good nods to future stuff. And of course, like I said, when I get to season 2, I want to see where they go with this, because I don't know, to my knowledge, if this actually was based off an actual premise or of another book. Of course, what do I know? Okay, I gotta read the books. Okay, but for a first outing, for the first season, for my first overall impressions of this Alex Ryder show on IMDBTv, I give it an 8.5 out of 10. It's that damn good. If you love spies, I absolutely recommend it. And of course, once again, bit of a shout out to Spice Keep and the True Spice podcast. Keep it up. I love listening to your stuff every week. But yeah, if you guys have not heard their stuff, go check them out on wherever you get your podcasts. So yeah, that does it for this week. Let me know what you think. Thumbs up this video, subscribe to my channel, stay tuned for some more awesome and exciting content.